Rahim, dear students. I wish that you are all doing good and you all are in a good health. Today we are going to talk about worksheet number 9, which is talking about creating a relationship. First thing, I want you to list the date for today. If you have your booklet, if you don't have your booklet, I'm going to attach a copy from this worksheet along with the video. I want you to be ready with your markers and highlighters to highlight the important information. Also, I want you to practice because the practice is everything. In this session, we will talk about the relationship. If you remember, we talked about the relationship earlier. We have three types of relationships on the database. The relationship like man with his ID number, this will be one-to-one. An employee, a manager with different employees, this will be one-to-many. And the audience with football team, this will be many-to-many. So we have three different types of relationships. Here, the relationships help me to find the relation between different tables and different tasks. It helps me to work with records, with working with queries, working with the reports. Uh, Also help me to figure out what is the type of relationship we have. Also, it will be to help me to identify the primary key and the foreign key. We create here, why do we create relationship? It's very important to know. To work records from more than one table and creating to join tables. Also matching the values for the primary key on the first and second table and create a foreign key. Also, we have a relationship to create reports and to find the appropriate values. Also, when you design the database to divide the information into different tables, so will help you to figure out what kind of database you have or what kind of data you are going to deal with. All these information written here, it's for your own knowledge. I'm not going to ask you anything from these information here. We are going now to head to the practical parts. The practical parts here, I'm listing the steps to create a relationship and how can you identify what kind of relationship you are having. Uh, this is the worksheet number 9. Now I'm going to head to the practical part. I'm now opening my database, the database I'm working with. As you know, where I have a different tables here. To create a relationship, I'm going to go to the database tool from the menu here, from the database tool, from the relationship group. Again, from the database tool, I am having a relationship group. I'm going to click on the relationship. Now I'm finding the table. This is the table for me. This is the table history, and this is the table worker. This is the table history and the table worker. From the history, the primary key here is the history ID. Why? How can I know this? This is the primary key because I'm having the key here next to the history ID. For the worker ID, this is the primary key for the worker ID. If I ask you now, what is the foreign key here on the worker table? I'm having here a foreign key. What is the foreign key on the history table? Do I have a foreign key on the history table or the worker table? This is your question now. What is the foreign key on the history table? I'm going to write now here. This is the question. What is the foreign key I'm sorry. So the question here will be, I'm sorry, the question here will be what is the foreign key what is the foreign key on الhistory table. As we said earlier, the foreign key is a primary key on another table. The foreign key is a primary key on another table. So when I'm looking here on the history table, I'm having history ID, worker ID, cost walk ID, walk date, and walk time. So when I go here and say what is the primary key in the worker table, it is walk ID. So the foreign key here on the history table is the worker ID. So when I ask you what is the foreign key, the answer here will be the worker ID. It is the foreign key. The worker ID here is the foreign key. How do I know? Because the worker ID is a primary key on another table. On another table. Now let's go back to the relationship. If I want to know what type of relationship connected the history table with the worker table, you can see now the line here between the two tables. Double click using the left mouse, double click, and a new dialog box will appear to me. So the table worker ID is connected to the history, which feel connected to each other. So what type of the relationship? You can see now what is the relationship type here. The relationship type, it's one to many. It's one to many. The most useful thing of having a practical side of the IT that the computer or the software helps you to figure out the question without memorizing anything or without guessing anything. So if you want to know what type of the relationship you are having with these two fields, the access tell you what is the relationship. So the relationship type here is one to many, which uh, which fields the worker ID, which table the worker and the worker history. So if I want to create another relationship, I can press here on edit relationship, or I can press on any field here and connect it directly to the here said that I have the existing relationship. If I want to create a new relationship, it's going to be no. But in case I want to add a table to this relationship, I'm going to press here to add the table. All the tables here on my database will appear to me. I'm going to choose another table. I'm going to choose the coast walk number 1. So click and add. So when I press add, you can see here another table will appear and another relationship will be linked to the history table. I can ask you if I have a foreign key here. The question will be yes. The foreign key here will be the coast walk ID from the history table because it is a primary key on another table. If I want to know what type of the relationship, double click on the line and you can find that the relationship here between these two different tables will be one to many. If I want to connect a relationship here between two different tables and there is no relationship, you can find here. I'm creating now a relationship between different tables and there is no relationship between them. There is no relationship. So the access will tell me that it will be an undetermined relationship. That means there is no relationship between the cost walk 1 and the worker table. There is no relationship. It's very easy to apply and it's very easy to demonstrate. I want you, after finishing creating your database, or if you want to have this database please contact me and I'm going to send it to you using B12 if you want to practice on existing database. If we go back to our worksheet, you can find here, I'm sorry, I'm going to remove this. You can find here the steps to create a relationship, and it's very easy to demonstrate. Um, our lesson for today is finished. I hope that you enjoy learning, and I'm looking forward to see you again. In case you want or you have any queries, you can ask me on our session on the Zoom, or if you have to send me any questions, you can contact me on the B12. Thank you for listening.